You scroll through Instagram and see your old college roommate standing next to a brand new BMW. Your coworker just bought a house in the suburbs. Your cousin is posting vacation pics from Bali again. And there you are, sitting on your couch wondering what the hell you're doing wrong. You work hard, you show up every day. But somehow, everyone around you seems to be living their best life while you're stuck in the same place you were 3 years ago. This feeling, this sense that you're falling behind while everyone else is sprinting ahead, it's one of the most painful experiences in modern life. And today, we're going to talk about why this happens and what's really going on behind those perfect social media posts. Here's the thing most people don't realize. That BMW your roommate is driving, there's a good chance he's drowning in debt for it. That house your coworker bought, she might be one missed paycheck away from losing it. You see, we live in a world where looking rich is way more important than actually being rich, and that's the trap almost everyone falls into. I've spent years studying personal finance and watching people make the same mistakes over and over again. The truth is, the people who look the most successful are often the most broke. I'm Peter, and if this kind of real talk about money is something you need in your life, hit that subscribe button because we're just getting started. Let me paint a picture for you. Think about the last time you saw someone pull up in a luxury car. What was your first thought? Probably something like, wow, they must be doing really well. That's what we're trained to think. We see expensive things, and our brain automatically assumes the person who has them is wealthy. But here's what's actually happening in most cases. Let's say someone makes $70,000 a year. That's a decent salary, right? Now imagine they want to look like they make twice that. So they lease a Mercedes for $800 a month. They finance a Rolex. They rent an apartment in a nicer neighborhood than they can afford. Every single month, they're spending more than they make just to maintain this image. Think of it like a duck swimming on a pond. On the surface, everything looks smooth and effortless. But underneath the water, those legs are kicking frantically just to stay afloat. That's what most people's finances look like. Calm on top, chaos underneath. Now compare that to someone who makes the same $70,000 but drives a 10-year-old Honda, lives in a modest apartment, and invests the difference. On the outside, they look average, maybe even poor. But in reality, they're building actual wealth while everyone else is building a facade. Why do we do this to ourselves? It comes down to something psychologists call social comparison theory. We're hardwired to measure ourselves against the people around us. Back when we lived in small tribes, this made sense. You needed to know where you stood in the social hierarchy. But today, you're not comparing yourself to your 20 neighbors. You're comparing yourself to thousands of people on social media, many of whom are literally lying about their lifestyle. Studies show that people who spend more time on social media report higher levels of financial anxiety. It's not a coincidence. When you see a highlight reel of everyone's best moments, your brain starts to think that's their everyday reality. And when your everyday reality doesn't match up, you feel like a failure. Let me give you a quick example. Say you're at a party and everyone's talking about their investments, their side hustles, their big promotions. You feel like the only person in the room who's struggling. But what if I told you that half of those people are exaggerating and the other half are one emergency away from financial disaster? Would that change how you feel? Now let's dig deeper into how this actually plays out in the real world. The average American household carries about $90,000 in debt. That includes credit cards, car loans, student loans, everything. But here's the crazy part. A huge chunk of that debt comes from trying to keep up with other people who are also in debt. It's like a game where everyone's losing, but nobody wants to admit it. Let me break down the math for you. The median household income in the U.S. is around $74,000. After taxes, that's roughly $55,000 take home. Now, if someone in this bracket is spending $800 on a car payment, $2,000 on rent, and another few hundred on random subscriptions and lifestyle inflation, they're left with almost nothing. And that's before any emergencies, any fun money, any savings. But wait. It gets worse, because when you're spending everything you make just to look successful, you're not investing anything. And investing is literally how wealth is built. The stock market has averaged about 10% returns over the long term. If you invested just $500 a month starting at 25, you'd have over $1 million by 60. But most people can't do that because they're too busy paying off the lifestyle they can't afford. Here's something that might blow your mind. The actual millionaires, the people with real wealth, they don't look like what you'd expect. A study of millionaires found that the most common car brands they drive are two: Toyota and Honda. Not BMW, not Mercedes. They live in modest homes, wear regular clothes, and you'd probably walk past them on the street without a second glance. Meanwhile, the people driving the flashy cars and wearing the designer clothes are often the ones with the smallest net worth. They've traded actual financial security for the appearance of success. It's like choosing a trophy that says winner over actually winning the game. Think about it this way. There are two types of wealth. There's visible wealth, the stuff you can see like cars, clothes, houses, and there's invisible wealth, things like investments, savings, assets that grow over time. The problem is, building invisible wealth requires you to not spend money on visible wealth. And in a world where everyone's judging you by what they can see, that's incredibly hard to do. Let me tell you about a phenomenon called lifestyle creep. It's when your spending increases every time your income increases. Get a raise? Time for a nicer apartment. Bonus? New wardrobe. And before you know it, you're making twice what you made 5 years ago, but you have the same amount of money in your bank account. Actually, probably less, because your expectations have grown faster than your income. The wealthy people, the truly wealthy, they understand something crucial. Your goal shouldn't be to look rich. Your goal should be to be rich. And those are two very different things that require two very different strategies. So, what do you do with all this information? First, stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. That Instagram post you're jealous of? It's probably financed. That success story you heard at the party? It's probably exaggerated. People lie about money all the time. They have to, because they've built their entire identity around appearing successful. Second, flip the script in your mind. When you see someone with flashy stuff, instead of thinking they must be rich, think they might be broke, because statistically that's more likely to be true. The real flex isn't showing off what you have. It's having financial security that nobody can see. Third, embrace being invisible. The less you need to impress people, the more money you keep. And the more money you keep, the more wealth you build. Compound interest doesn't care about your Instagram following. Here's the truth that nobody wants to hear. The people who look like they're winning at life are often the same people who are one crisis away from collapse. And the people who look ordinary might be sitting on more wealth than you'd ever guess. Don't let appearances trick you into a race that leads nowhere. The path to real financial success is boring. It's showing up, saving consistently, investing for the long term, and not giving a damn about what other people think. That's it. No secrets, no hacks, no shortcuts. Just discipline and time. If you want more content that tells you what you need to hear instead of what you want to hear, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. I'm Peter, and I'll see you in the next one.